What's up, guys? It's been a second. As you can see, I have finally invested in a new webcam, and after a week of making fun of the Argentinian peso so hard that President Milei personally FaceTimed me to deliver a cease and desist, I'm ready to drop another video. Now, y'all read the title, so let's get right into it. It's been about 2 months since Clash Royale has dropped the Rank 2.0 update, and since then we've had a lot of stuff change and get introduced into the game. We've been through a full furnace epidemic in which trying to look for a single game without furnace felt like I was trying to find an Atlanta resident whose pants didn't look vacuum sealed to his body. We've also had Jinxie migrate over from streaming Siege, thus bringing his entire fanbase along with him. And if you know anything about Jinxie fans from R6, you would know why I'm so very thankful that Clash Royale does not, in fact, have voice chat.
Shut your dumb ass up. You're too young to play this game.
But with all that's happened, the question I'm wondering to myself is, was the update actually good? To start off, I want to talk about progression. Personally, I think progression as a whole has been nerfed through this update. Starting off with Trophy Road, I think not much really changed here. But they did add another 6,000 possible trophies to climb, which was pretty cool. I personally don't think it's too egregious. I know a lot of people get annoyed when they do that, but it's honestly their only real choice to keep the Trophy Road fresh, and honestly it gives us more arenas to see, and there's nothing you can really do here. I honestly feel like the soft cap being 10,000 is really nice, and having the trophies reset to climb again is honestly pretty refreshing. I personally don't feel like climbing past 10k, so I've stopped there in favor of Path of Legends. Now, I will say one thing they did poorly was their decision to not retroactively give players the rewards they added for newer players in the Trophy Road. Now, I get it was meant for new players, but it definitely sucks for most of us who are at the top of that ladder around that 9k, 10k range, who are still trying to max our cards and could really use those rewards. I will say though, I've seen a lot of people harping about how Path of Legends is like locked behind the 15k range and how that's stupid, but honestly, I feel like anybody who was active in playing Path of Legends beforehand should have not even been impacted, unless you were an actual quadriplegic with an IQ of 30 and couldn't climb past Master 1. Path of Legends. Now, here we go. We're getting into the meat and potatoes of this argument, and I have a decent list of what I think went wrong in my opinion. Firstly, I want to say that getting rid of the lower arenas was a good thing. For pretty much everybody, the first 3 challenger arenas were kind of a joke, and we all breezed through them in like 20 minutes. Like, these games were super easy and honestly more of a chore to do than actually fun, so I was honestly in favor of removing them to make progression faster. However, what I was not in favor of, and what I still can't understand to this day, is why Supercell decided to get rid of the card level caps. Path of Legends is supposed to be the competitive game mode, and it's supposed to be far more skill based and a lot less dependent on your card levels than something like Trophy Road is. Now it just feels like another element of the rage bait that Supercell calls a card game, and it's all in an attempt to get you to crack your wallet. The rewards are also significantly worse. In fact, you now actually get just straight up half as many elite wildcards, which are kind of the lifeblood of us like top level players still trying to max our cards. And now your grand prize for hitting Ultimate Champion, you know that rank that you've sat for hours on end trying to get, you've lost games, you've pulled out your hair, you've thrown your phone across the room. Your final reward for getting that prestige rank is a singular elite wildcard. Like, thank you, Supercell. I now need 39 more of these to make my champion even playable in ladder. Like, it just doesn't make sense, and it's a little bit of a slap in the face for all of us who've worked hard. Moving to merge tactics, I mean, like, I don't know, it exists, I guess? Everyone I know played like 2 rounds of it and never touched it again. It honestly feels like another half-baked attempt at a new Supercell game that they scrapped because they knew it wasn't going to be popular on release. They decided to just conjoin it with Clash Royale and make it a new game mode. And I'm convinced that the only reason it's still around is just for Supercell to force Orange Juice to make videos on it to divert attention away from their bad decisions. They'll go like, "Oh Jay, we screwed up. People hate this update, the furnace is overpowered, and people are uninstalling this game more than ever before. We need you to do something while we sit back and do nothing." And OJ is going to be like, "Yes sir, another 40 million videos to merge tactics. Praise Supercell." And not to mention, we still don't have any compensation for the removal of the season shop, our trade tokens are kind of dead, and the masteries are just got nerfed, along with a couple other small changes that have overall degraded the value of our progression and have just made everything a lot slower, and we have had no real answer from Supercell to counteract these changes. Now, let's talk about the player count. Now, the player count for Clash Royale has actually risen a lot since that update. I think we all know that most of that has to do with Jinxie migrating over from R6 and thus bringing his entire fan base of brain dead 11-year-olds. Clash Royale kind of blew up on Instagram as well, with creators like Broyale and Bobby bringing a lot of new positive attention to the point where for the first time since that like 2016 to 2018 period, it actually feels like Clash Royale is mainstream again. And that's really cool to see. But oftentimes it feels like the game's popularity and success comes despite Supercell's money-hungry direction, rather than because of any of the positive changes that they've made. And because of this, I feel like the community is a lot more tight-knit than it used to be, and people are actually a lot more likely to stay around for the long haul. Now, with that out of the way, what can Supercell do moving forward to kind of salvage their negative reputation and make a turnaround so the players are actually going to be satisfied? I think the two best avenues moving forward are going to be new game modes and cosmetics. Starting off with new game modes, I think we've had a lot of crap lately because stuff like Touchdown was really cool, but all of like the regular mode but X troop spawns in the back every couple seconds, that stuff is really stale. We need something more inspired. Merge Tactics was a good attempt, but we need something that works well with the core mechanics while still giving us a new way to play the game, such as that Chinese AI wave defense mode that I've seen floating around on the internet. I think that that is really cool, and that it's an idea that's been tossed around the community for years. The fact that it exists now in any way is really cool to see, and I think that provides a lot of really good future avenues for the game to develop in. I think it could turn into something akin to the Robo Rumble game mode from Brawl Stars that would be a super fun PvE mode for all the casual players that don't feel like sweating their balls out for hours on end. Now, moving on to cosmetics. Now, I know the cosmetics thing is a trope from Fortnite that other very successful titles like COD have tried to emulate and as a result have been completely trashed and abandoned by their player base, but I think Clash Royale is in a perfect spot to launch a cosmetic update. We've already had tower skins, but what about troop skins? The closest thing we've had to that is star levels, and that was really cool, and I love to see the small changes. But those are really basic, as just a little bit of gold decal on a card. We don't really have anything that inspired. However, I think there is a huge gap that the community is begging to be filled, and this is a perfect avenue to go about it. I mean, just look at that P.E.K.K.A and Mega Knight like gold skin teaser that you've seen like on the Chinese server. Like, I know it's fake, but those look really good. And I feel like as long as the designs don't make it harder to identify what card is being played, I think that it would be a very welcome change that would also bring a ton of money into the game. But as always, guys, these are just my thoughts on the game, and everybody is entitled to their own opinion. If you have a differing opinion, please feel free to tell me in the comments below, as that really helped me gain traction in the algorithm. And please like and subscribe, that really helps my channel grow. And I'm really happy to be putting out content for you guys. I've been seeing a lot of positive comments, and that honestly keeps me going forward. I love that you guys are getting involved with my videos, and I love that I can entertain you and hopefully provide you some kind of value for these 10 minutes. With that being said, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video. Peace.